pizza and.
Well, good evening and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. It is a Talk Time special, and Steve's headline this evening is Drama at the Accu as Terriers denied all 3 points. Yes, Town denied 3 points in, a very entertaining 3-apiece draw yesterday against Wycombe Wanderers, and we'll come on to that very shortly. But first of all, Stephen Downs, how are you, my friend?
Good, thanks. Good. Just tucked into a bit of my tea before the podcast, but yeah, all good from the fridge, mate. All good from the fridge.
Good. Still munching on it as the credits were coming up, weren't you? I saw you. Still got a little bit on your mouth, though, mate.
I know.
I'm only joking. Steve, I think we have to say a massive thank you to Kevin Nagle, who invited the West Yorkshire Football Show down to the Accu on Friday evening.
Yep.
And Steve, you were there, and you managed to catch an interview with him. The interview is available on YouTube, so make sure you have a look at that one. But I think, again, thank you to Huddersfield Town, to Kevin Nagle, and for you, Steve, how was it?
It was really good. Obviously, Kevin invited me and the Takes That Chance podcast and the Still Smiling podcast to go down into H-Town, which was fantastic. We had about an hour and 20 minutes with him. The actual podcast or interview that's been released is about an hour and 8 minutes. Please do go check it out on the channel. And I'd say Kevin was pretty. He was pretty open and honest, to be honest, about everything from stadium issues to his maybe slight regret about managers that he's replaced in the past. Transfers to where things might be going in the future, on and off the pitch for the club. So yeah, a really interesting chat. And like you said, Kane, reiterate it. Thanks to him and the club for letting us do that.
Yeah. It is absolutely fantastic. I'm obviously very jealous of you getting to meet the chairman and go through all that with him. But we have got some important things to go through. Comments are coming in so far already, so I'm just going to pick out a couple of them where we get to say hello and good evening to yourself. So, Paul, good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Luke says, evening, lads. We'll come on to a little bit further on to what you've got to say, Luke, as well. Just remind me to go back to it. Afternoon all, or good evening from us, Harry. And we've also got an up the town as well. Look, I can see the other comments as well. We will come on to them in a moment's time. I can see a lot of comments about the referee as well. So that's an interesting take on how we're already got with that one. Steve, it was... Yeah. It was a bit of a celebration, wasn't it, yesterday? It's a shame Cal can't join us this evening. He's up early for work, so he might be just tuning in to us and hopefully using that to help him get some sleep. But a fantastic display from the Cowshed Loyal and everybody involved in that one. We had the 3 trophies up, Hale Town, thrice champions, and the scarves were amazing as well. It cost just under £2,000 for the Cowshed Loyal to do that, but I thought it really set the tone for the afternoon. And I think Phil also makes a point. The stadium rocked on Saturday, and maybe that's one of the reasons why.
Yeah, it was so nice to honour those people all those years ago that won those amazing trophies, in the club's history, and it should never ever be forgotten, whether it's now or in another 100 years when the club hopefully will still be around. So amazing, what Carl and the Cowshed Loyal did in the 1908 group that also helped with that. I think it was a massive display, and well done to them all. Yeah, the stadium was rocking, but I think it was kind of a game to rock at, really, Kane. And I'll tell you what was nice as well, the symmetry, of celebrating the 100 years. But also Wycombe were the first ever team that we played against at the John Smith, so sorry, the Accu Stadium as it's now called. I think that was a nice piece of symmetry there. Also with Michael Duff bringing his team back, there was lots of interconnections going on around the game, and quite easily for journalists to make a story out of. So that definitely, as press people, we will have been happy with that. But the game itself left us with absolutely no hesitation with how it panned out, did it, mate? It was fast paced and entertaining from start to finish.
Yeah, it was an entertaining game. Paul says atmosphere was rocking yesterday, was brilliant. Okay, so let's get on to the game then. Town started with Nichols in goal. Balker, Wallace, Rowan winner back three. Gooch and Mumby, two wing backs. Humphreys, Ledson in the middle of the park. Harness and May just in front of them. And Radalovic was up top on his own. Arguably a fairly strong side, that, Steve.
Yeah, Alfie May and Bojan up top. Definitely the best front two. Midfield was fine.
Well, they weren't a front two, though, what they, Steve? They weren't a front two.
Not a front two. No, I keep saying a front two. It's just because obviously
I don't know why.
But yeah, but obviously Harness was up there as well. Yeah, overall the team was probably one of the best that we could put out, bar maybe one or two individuals.
Yeah, and Joe Lowe back on the bench as well. I think it's really positive for Town, especially after Josh Feeney's injury, who he's out now for the season. Will go back to Villa for his treatment. Although he was at the game, I don't know if you did see him. I know I certainly did.
Yeah, sad about that, by the way. Sad about that because he's a really good player. You can tell there's something there. You can tell why Villa, see something in him. So I'm sure he'll go on to have a decent career, will Josh?
Yeah, certainly will. Okay, so let's talk about the first half. I thought as if Town were pretty decent in the first half. They created some chances, probably should have put a couple away, but I thought we ended the last podcast very positive, Steve, and I think that positivity, and I'm not saying it's come from us, but it's certainly I saw it in the game. I think at half time, let's just win. The score at half time was 1-0. We were 1-0 down, but 11 shots in the first half.
We didn't deserve to be losing at half time. No way. We should have had two penalties. Absolute disgusting how there was not two penalties not given. But we created chances. We put Wycombe on the back foot. We didn't let them. I noticed this I don't know whether you noticed it in commentary, but obviously we know the way Michael Duff's teams like to play. They like to control possession. They like to control the ball. And whilst they did have more possession, I wouldn't say they controlled the game. I thought Town controlled the game through our physicality and speed within the midfield, which was lovely to see, something that we haven't seen more of this season. I thought Ryan Ledson was outstanding throughout the whole game, but particularly in the first half.
Yeah, in that first half, it did seem as if that it was Town winning the ball in the opposition half. And funnily enough, I know I mentioned it on commentary and to a couple of other people as well. Michael Duff finally playing the formation that we asked him to play for while he was at Huddersfield Town. But in terms of Huddersfield, they were winning the ball high up the pitch, and you mentioned now, we've got Paul saying it here, Ledson was brilliant yesterday, deserved his start, and another goal and one contender. We'll come on to that one. What a strike. But he was absolutely everywhere in that first half.
He ran the midfield.
Yeah, he was winning the ball high up on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, in the middle of the park, picking up the pieces for everyone, nice little neat passes. And, you mentioned he was running the game, running midfield, and that allows Town, once they win the ball further up the field, which is, again, what we've been asking for, they can then put the pressure on the opposition and get the shots away and create the big chances.
Yeah, and also what it does, him playing that way and doing what we've asked him to do all season, that allowed Cam Humphreys to do what he's good at doing, and getting the ball, running, being that box to box, trying to create little 1-2s on the edge of the area for us to get shots away. So for me, because Ledson played so well, that brought the best out of other players as well, which is what you want from your captain. But it was so nice to see yesterday. I thought that was one of the major, massive positives.
Yeah, it was a huge positive. So Town created a lot of opportunities in that first half. 11 shots, as we mentioned, which was different to what we've seen before. The goal, though, it's disappointing. It's disappointing. Mumba has to do better, and there's no questions about that. He has to do better. And I don't know about you, Steve, I was just a little bit disappointed with him. He kind of gave up with it.
He gave up. Yep. He gave the two players. I can't remember. I think Ledson's one of them. I think he goes to make the sliding tackle. And who was the other? Rowan.
I think it was Rowan. Yeah.
And I think even Gooch caught him up, who were on the left hand side, obviously, who were majorly in the attack at that time because we pressed so high to try and win the ball back. Mumba doesn't win the first contact, fine, but he's supposed to be a really fast player, isn't he? I mean, to get out, I'm not saying Nathan Lowe's a slow coach by any stretch of the imagination, but to not even chase him back the way that you would have expected, I agree, was disappointing. And the fact that Ledson and Rowan both beat him back, particularly Ledson, who really showed why he wanted to defend, to try and get a tackle in. Yeah, disappointing. I'm disappointed slightly as well with Lee Nichols turned his back on it, but overall, I think Mumba was, poor that. Very poor.
And I think that's probably the only downfall from the first half. And I think what was really important about the first half was we've seen and we've heard this season at half time, the players booed off when losing at half time. Now, there was a massive difference for me at the weekend. There was applauded off. And the reason behind that, Steve, was because they performed.
Yeah, because, okay, we were losing, but we didn't deserve to be losing. We deserved to be at least level, if not winning, because we created chances. We were unlucky because of shocking refereeing decisions. I don't know what you made to the handball and the push on Bojan, but I thought they were both penalties. So we were unlucky, but we played well. They deserved to be clapped off at half time. And maybe that, when they went in, maybe they thought, geez, we haven't had that all season. We'll come out in the second half and we'll crack on like we did in the first half. And that's what happened.
And is that quite a... Do we think that's quite a simple thing to see from the players' point of views and the coaching staff point of views, is go and give it a go like they did. They got forward, they put some long balls in, they created some chances, got shots off, and the fans will get behind you. Do you think that might have just we've seen that now?
How many more time do we have to say it on here? If they give their all, and all right, we can it's League One, we can forgive quality if it's not quite working. But if they're giving it a go, like you said, they're having a shot. Ledson had a shot from about 35 yards. It nearly went in, actually. Just test the keeper. Just have a go. Make sure you make your tackles. I want to come on to a player that came on as a sub, and he made numerous tackles in the second half. But we'll get onto that. But yeah, just give it a go, and hopefully that when they came off at half time, like I said, they probably thought, you know what, we know we've played well in that first half, and our fans know that we've played well in that first half, and they've responded. So let's go out and do it in the second half. And I think that worked really well. Yeah.
So, okay, let's go through some of these comments as well then, because we're getting to the point where we can talk about what happened in the second half. We've got Ian. I don't know why he did this, but he left with 10 minutes to go. Wasn't shocked one bit when it was 3 apiece came up in the car radio. Wonder why. You also mentioned about the
because you left, Ian.
Yeah, we'll come back onto that one. Deserved 3 points yesterday. Was cheated out by the game. That the referee yesterday was a joke. In the fridge again, Steve says, Paul. So yeah, Luke says, disappointed with the result, but can't fault the effort from the players. If only could convert our chances and manage games better after going in front. The referee was a joke yesterday, robbed us of 3 points. We've got CW saying about King Kev up the town always. Ledson was brilliant yesterday. We already spoke about that one. Ian, I'm not mentioning that one.
Thought Gooch was a lot better yesterday. Thought Gooch was a hell of a lot better yesterday. And that shot, by the way, what a save from their keeper. That's
fantastic save by Norris.
That might be the best save we've seen this season from any goalkeeper at the Accu.
Yeah, it was a cracking save by Norris in the first half. Gooch down the right hand side. Kind of looked as if he should have passed the ball. Did a bit of a 360, didn't he? And eventually came in. Looks as if he'd been onto it too long and eventually got that left-footed shot away. Harry says, Ledson has really won me over the past few months from a player I actually didn't rate has become a real leader. We need this Ledson with the shackles off. He needs to play like this all the time. Michael, good evening to you as well. And well, I hope you are too. Think Mumba was quite poor, very passive yesterday for me. It says Paul. It was good to see Bojan on the halfway line when they had corners. It took two of their players to mark him. We've got Ian saying here, disappointed after conceding late on and then scoring a decent goal from Harness and 22 shots in total, but still couldn't hang on to take 3 points, although I thought it could have been a foul. Yeah, we'll come on to that one as well. Nice tempo, says Mark from Town, for virtually the whole 90 minutes, which stood out for me. Stonewall Pen, says Paul. Steve, the referee was a joke. First goal, Mumba was caught too high and Low got a run on him. It might be down to Mumba or coach instruction position-wise. Interesting points there, Mark. I think one-on-one, when you barley Mumba and the speed that he's got, shouldn't really be asking for anyone else back there with him. I'm not convinced on Barley Mumba. 1 million, says Ian again. We need a good all clear out whether we get promoted or not. Players like Charles, Mumba, Miller, Gooch, Alnwick, Ruhan, Kasumu, Evans. Interesting thoughts on that one there. And Paul again, at the minute they're playing for the 90 minutes, which is good to see, and they never gave up. Okay. Let's move on to the second half. By the way, the comments are brilliant, so thank you very much from them. Plenty to digest. I'm sure Steve will touch on some of these as well. Michael just put in decent performances by Town. Poor defending set piece again cost Town the win. Referee was awful. A lot of decisions didn't go our way. I got a feeling that a lot of the fan base at the moment are wanting to blame the referee. We'll touch on that. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he had a bad game. Did have a bad game. But Town managed to get themselves back in the game, Steve. So 1-0 down. Ryan Ledson steps up. And by the way, what an absolute thunderbolt that was. What a finish it was. That was absolutely superb, wasn't it?
I think he's trying to rival Leo Castledine for goal of the season, to be honest.
He's rivaling himself for the goal of the season at the moment, mate.
It is, but Leo did score some crackers also in the first half of the season. I think what a strike. I mean, it was ambitious to take it on because of it was quite windy, wasn't it, on the day? You know, that could have easily ballooned into the top half of the Terriers together stand. But, I mean, there's not two goalkeepers saving that. The force that he hit it with, I said basically to my dad, he's basically said to himself, as soon as the ball sort of dropping on that dip, he's gone, sod me, I'm just going to hit this, but you can put a different word in. And yeah, what a strike. What a strike. And he's led by example again. And last two games, this game on Saturday, he's doing what a captain should be doing. He's not. You can see in himself on the pitch, the last three games, he's not giving up this playoff chase. He's not prepared to give it up. Definitely not.
There's been a lot of talk about Ledson and his leadership, hasn't there? And because he's not the same kind of leader that Jonathan Hogg was in terms of getting in your face, shout about, it's taken a while for people to maybe get on board with how he does be a leader, how he is a captain. But I think what we have seen recently, second especially in the second part of the season, Steve, is that he's a leader by showing everybody else how to dig in.
Yeah, but Christopher Schindler wasn't a shouter and a screamer, and he's one of the best players that's ever played for this football club, but he led by
Yeah,
example. So you
exactly,
can
Steve.
have
His
different.
performances. This is what I'm saying. Christopher,
Yeah,
if you're going to bring up Christopher Schindler, you're talking about someone who, had his heart on his sleeve and did it with his performances. We're now seeing
yeah,
that from Ryan Ledson, taking the game into
e-
his own hands and showing everybody.
exactly. Now, I was very critical at the start of the season of Ryan Ledson. You can go back, by the way, and watch the other podcast. And I think at the time I was right in my criticism. However, seeing this Ledson compared to that Ledson, it makes me believe it's more down to coaching and what he was asked to do compared to what he's being asked to do now, which I find very interesting. So I think, like somebody said, I can't remember who put it, the shackles have been taken off Ledson in the last month or so. I
Well,
think he's
Paul
been
has
given
just put
more.
this in. It's clear, though, guys, that he's had the shackles on and now under steadying core, they are off
Yeah,
again, which is good to see.
yeah, and I think Paul's right. I think there's definitely a bit of that. I don't know whether you'd agree with that, Kane, but I think from me, it's quite clear that he was asked to do a job, and he was probably being asked to do either too many things or doing things he can't do as a player, and now he's just being asked to just go out and lead the team. Which is what he's obviously good at doing. That's what he was good at doing at Preston. He was outstanding on Saturday. For the last month, he's been probably one of the best players, to be honest.
Yeah, he's not exactly been bad, has he, recently? So it's one apiece. Let me just, in fact, let me just bring this up comment as well. Ledson, our captain, was too rightly applauded off at the end, but you could see he wasn't happy, shaking his head. And yes, he's definitely not going to give it up. I think he did take a bit of a knock as well, though. In all fairness, Phil, because when he was supposed to come off the first time, he seemed quite happy about it, but then also confused, but then stayed on. But before that first sub where he didn't actually come off, a few moments before he was on the ground just having a good few stretches. So maybe it was an injury thing, but I think that's quite important to come back to
Yeah,
in a moment of time. Okay, Town trying to chase the game here. The second goal, Marcus Hannah scores at the back stick, doing what you should any winger, although he's not playing in a wing position, should do, follow up at the back. Where do you think that goal comes from? Because I think our opinions might be different.
um, I think that goal comes from the fact that we played it quite quickly through the thirds. We got it into Bojan, who laid it off. Who I think, if you look back at that move, he's quite a key component in that move. So him showing his strength in the middle releases other players. I can't remember who was it May that crossed it. I can't remember, but the fact then that because Wickham are not in the correct shape, which you can see if you stop the video in terms of stills, that means Harness has got the absolute field of anything to go at the back stick, and that's what I would say. I think in that move, Bojan is the most important key component in that move, Ken.
Just by the way, I've got the Masters on in the background, and there are a massive putt there that's just been missed. So for me,
Forget about the golf.
we talk about tempo-ing games, haven't we? And there've been some great comments about it as well in here so far. Town give away a goal kick, and rather than allowing Norris to go grab the ball himself, Alfie May sprints across, grabs the nearest ball he can find, puts it on the spot for Norris. That quickens things up. Norris is already on a yellow card here, so he has to kick it. Wickham aren't exactly set. Big winner from Wallace. Bojan flicks it onto Alfie May. He takes his shot inside the area, and Harness picks it up at the back stick. But that bit of want from Alfie May to go and grab a ball is kind of that bit of passion that we've been wanting into it throughout, just to keep things going and put the pressure on.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you 100% because, like you said, Norris was on a yellow card. I mean, now he didn't get a second yellow in the first half, baffled me. But it's what goalkeepers are doing these days, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, well played to Alfie May for doing that. I do still say though, without Bojan getting that flick on, that goal doesn't happen.
Well, of
Because
course, of course.
Plenty of times this season, you know, you would have seen maybe Charles up there, you may have seen Joe Taylor up there, so that goal doesn't happen, and I think that's why Bojan's important to our team. Thought Murray Wallace was very good, you know, again, and he had a massive part to play in that move as well, like you've just said.
Yeah. Another big moment in that second half. Town are 2-1 up here, and then Lee Nichols has to go off.
Yeah,
it kind of changed the dynamic at the back a little bit, didn't it?
yeah, but rightly so. You know, let's be honest. You know,
Oh, yeah.
he was, you know, seeing stars or dizzy or his vision was blurred. You know, and I think football protocol has to take, you know, standard there that he has to go off. So it did change the dynamic. I never want to see Lee Nichols go off. That's nothing against Jack Alnwick, by the way, but you know, I always feel a bit safer with Nichols. I'd like him to distribute the ball a bit quicker, but that's just we've got used to Lee Nichols over the 6 years of not really doing that. And obviously, there's a bit of trepidation because of what had happened in the previous time that Jack Alnwick had gone in net for us. So, yeah, it changed the dynamic, but yeah, I don't really know how I feel about it. There's nothing much more you can say about it other than that he had to go off and Alnwick had to come on.
Yeah, I'm not talking about just a sub though. I'm talking about we understand Lee Nichols has to go off. I'm talking about what the difference was back there, because
Well, the difference was
Wickham then put another striker up with Lowe. So there was Flick and Lowe up there. They started pumping balls into the area, and you didn't have the calmness of Lee Nichols, and you had some defenders there with a goalkeeper that they've only played with once behind them.
well, yeah, and that became obvious because every time the ball came in, Jack thought he had to become Superman and try and punch it out, and and in one of those instances, unfortunately, he got injured himself. I think he took a right whack to the thigh, and it looked a bit ropey at one stage because we didn't have another keeper on the bench. So that would have been interesting to see who they'd have put in net. Maybe Murray Wallace would have gone in. Who knows? Yeah, it changes things, doesn't it?
Yeah,
And I just hope that Lee Nichols is going to be back for Cardiff. I don't know whether he will be, but yeah, it's always a blow when Lee goes off, definitely.
yeah. Okay, so that changed the dynamic back there. I think even it was mentioned in press conferences as well with game management. So Town, we're currently in a position where Town 2-1 up here. Ledson comes off, Humphries is off, Gooch is off, Lee Nichols is off, and I'm missing it. Alfie May comes off.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of changes in there, and we leave Joe Lowe on the bench. Do you think it might have been worth just bringing him on for it as an extra centre half back there, especially with Wickham putting their two big strikers up and starting to put the ball inside the area?
Yeah, but we're already playing with three centre backs, aren't we? So it should be 3 against 2, theoretically.
Yeah, but then you've also got your wingers coming in as well, and your midfielders coming through. I'm just talking about the threat of in the air that you've got.
Yeah, no, I get your point.
Rowan is a left back playing left centre half.
No,
He can
I get
do
your
that
point.
job.
But who would you have taken off? Who would you have taken off to put Joe Lowe on? Rowan?
That's what I'm. No, you keep your centre half. I'm asking you, is that something you would have done, or I'm changing? We're talking about game management.
I wouldn't have done that. No, I wouldn't have done that. I think you've already got 3 centre backs in there. I thought Rowan was doing a good enough job, to be honest. I wasn't really worried about the Gooch sub because Sorensen's played well when he's come on. The big sub for me that was a shame, apart from Lee Nichols, was Ryan Ledson going off because he was playing so well. And I think, although Kasumu, and I mentioned it earlier, Kasumu came on and made some real tackles, and added something in there, I think we automatically just sat back when Ledson came off and Humphreys. I think they were the two big changes for me. We sat back, we looked less confident, and that invited Wickham onto us, which, like you said, they were pumping balls into the box, and as good as what Murray Wallace is at heading the ball, he can't head every ball because he can't be everywhere at once.
Yeah. Phil says Lowe was part of the plan, but I think it was because of the early subs that it was forced that he didn't get on. Okay, so 2-1 up. Balls are getting pumped into the box. Town are now sitting back. Corners come in. They get the equaliser, and you just think it's the hope that kills you, don't you? You think, well,
The
we
sloppy
can't
goal,
believe
though.
it. We can't believe it. It's sloppy. Talk us through it.
Well, it's a set piece, and we've struggled with set pieces all the time, haven't we? And it's just nobody's marking the guy that heads it in ultimately. And I don't know whether that's because of all the changes that were made. I presume that might have had something to do with it. But we next season we've got to be so much better at defending set pieces because we are actually terrible. Right? Really bad. We can't score from them. We're so bad at defending them. Where in the past, look at how many corners we used to score with Ellick and Pearson, and how many we used to defend well with. So yeah, very disappointing, and it reminded me a little bit of the Bolton game earlier on in the season. To be honest, I had a fear that Wickham were going to go on and win it, and actually they nearly did when they smacked the post.
Yeah, it was Taylor who got the goal back for Wickham, and then they hit the post, and you're thinking, well, if there's going to be a team that's going to win it at the moment, it doesn't look like it's going to be Huddersfield Town. And then Marcus Harness dances through the defence on the edge of the area, left-footed finish into the far corner. Town playoffs are back on again. Everyone's buzzing. I can't believe. By the way, Wickham was still down to 10 men then. They were absolutely
Yeah,
fuming. Wow.
guy on the far side.
Yeah,
Guy
the
on the
high and the
far
lows.
side. Yeah.
Yeah, Harvey wasn't allowed back on because he'd just gone off with an injury. But the highs and lows of this 90 minutes, Town concede, then the score, commentary were going off from all angles around me. It was just absolutely unbelievable. You think that's it, Town have won this game now.
Yeah, I thought we won it. To be honest, we seem to be specialists of scoring late goals of late, which is good. That's a sign of a good team, or what can be a good team. Harness did really well, by the way, for his goal. I mean, the fact that he got in the box, and because I think he had a shot, it come back and it sort of come back to him with pace, controlled it really well. Like you said, danced around one or two, and then it was a lovely finish. But my instant thought straight away was, we've just defended for 5-10 minutes on our own box. We're just instantly going to go back to doing that again. And that's worried me. I thought we'd won it, but that instantly worried me. I thought, we can't, somebody's going to have to just say something about moving up the pitch 10 or 15 yards. But obviously it didn't happen.
Yeah, the press obviously slowed down. I thought Charles were a bit
It was poor.
passenger in his pressing when he came on. It probably invited a little bit more. Nana Paul says Ron was too concerned with hugging Taylor. He had no idea where the ball was. That's for the first, well, their first equaliser when it was 2-2. Then now we're on 3-2. As we mentioned, we thought Town might go on and win this game. Another set piece and Lowe equalises. And I don't know about you, Steve, but I was just absolutely deflated when that one went in.
Yeah, because I don't think the lads deserved what happened. First of all, and I've had a chat with the other lads in the Monday who do the Monday chat. They don't think it's foul on Bolker. I think it is a foul on Bolker. Although I do think, why the hell didn't Bolker just clear it up the pitch? I've no idea about that. But it was a foul. But then it's just Town, and it's just like you said, exactly what you said about 2 minutes ago. It's the hope that kills you, and you just knew that they were going to cross it in, and somebody were going to stick their head on it, and you could see the lads that when that goal went in, they were physically deflated as well because they deserved to get more than a point out of that game. interestingly, as I felt deflated, it then all kicked off on the sideline, and Michael Duff and John Stead decided to have a few words with each other, and that sort of got the blood pumping slightly again.
It got us all going again, didn't it? Luke says, I thought Balka was foul before their third, but he had plenty of time to just get rid of the ball. Poor game management by him.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think the consistency of the referee was a bit poor. And don't get me wrong, he had a bad game, but you cannot blame the referee when you're not getting rid of balls, you're conceding at corners, you're coming out for balls that you don't need to do so, you're not putting that effort in that someone has done before who's been playing, who started. So unfortunately, it was one of them. And what did you think of the reaction then? Obviously, the boos were for the referee, as people understand, but it just seemed to the air out of the balloon had left, didn't it?
Yeah, I think people would appreciate. I think people appreciated the lad's effort. There was nobody, by the way, around me that was giving the players any jip or anything like that, because there was no need to. They played as well as we've seen them play for quite a number of weeks. But I think we needed to win that game. That game was one where it was there for the taking for the 3 points. That would have put us on 64. It would have, I think, moved us up another place. I think it would have put us above Plymouth.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what then, Steve. Let me just round this game up. Then let's talk about the table, because I thought that was one of the best performances that I've seen from Huddersfield for quite some time. And don't get me wrong, it's disappointing that we've drawn, but we've mentioned on here, I know I certainly have, get the performance, the fans will back you, the results will come. We had the performance, we had the fans backing. Next, the results will come if Town continue to play like that. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, I think the performances have got steadily better under Martin Drury and John Stead. Definitely. Yeah.
Paul says they deserved better yesterday. It was a right performance. Mark, I've seen your comment as well, and Harry, yours too. But let's talk about the league then, Steve, because you're mentioning that a victory would have put Town on 64 points. That would have put them in 7th. You're absolutely right. That'd have been a point above Plymouth, and that would have been 3 behind Stevenage. Stevenage would still have a game in hand. Stockport would have been 3 points in front of Town in 5th, but they have 2 games in hand on Huddersfield. But it would put them just a little bit closer. Town now currently 5 points behind Stevenage, who are in 6th position. Town are in 8th. Yes, it would have just probably kept them playoff hopes alive. It's still not over yet, but it's just going to make it a little bit harder and a little bit more tense for the last few games.
Yeah, you look at Plymouth's fixtures. I think they've got Bradford still to play, but then they've got, around that they've got quite easy fixtures, to be honest. Stevenage, I think they've got some tough fixtures. But you look at us, we've got Cardiff next on Tuesday. Cardiff win, they get promoted. So they're definitely going to come to the Accu and we'll be wanting to get all 3 points. And then Bolton, on Saturday, that it's difficult fixtures. And with the way the game went on Saturday, we're there for the taking for the 3 points. And it would have just added that little bit more pressure. Where 5 points now, you're looking at it's 2 games at least. 2 games for other sides to drop points. When Stevenage have got a game in hand, I'm not that bothered about Stockport because I think they'll get there anyway. It's going to be very tough to get in them. Very tough. I mean, I wasn't confident before the Wickham game. I know we were confident, weren't we? It was a really positive podcast, but I think we're all realistic to think it's going to be a hell of a job on to get in there. We need some luck with some other results, I think, going other ways.
Can only hope. This is just an interesting comment. We cannot win games with a lack of characters and leaders. I think that's a bit harsh after the game yesterday. Don't get me wrong, I know Town didn't win, But that kind of performance for me, Ian, showed that Town might have that with just the right tools, Steve.
Yeah, we've said it all season, haven't we? We've seen glimpses and moments, and you think, oh, there might be something there, and then it sort of disappears again. It's just at the end of our fingertips where we think we might get something from this side. Players like Ledson coming to the fore really helped. People like Gooch playing to what we think he can at Championship standard. Marcus Harness was very honest after the game, saying he hadn't scored enough this season. I agree, Marcus. You haven't, and you haven't performed probably for 65% of the season, 70% of the season maybe, but you performed on Saturday, so you deserve to get clapped off on Saturday. You deserved a pat on the back and said, you really put effort in. You showed that you cared for the shirt. So I haven't got an argument for Saturday. It's the going to Burton's and going to Northampton's and going to Wigan's and not performing. That's what I have a problem with. That's why we're not in the position of where we wanted to be, because you've not turned up in those fixtures.
Harry says we've got leaders, just the squad's just not there just yet, but we've got some quality players. Harry also says, I don't think we can get playoffs, but not too down. It's unlike last season. I think we've got the foundations of a really good team. We just need some targeted improvements in certain positions. Okay, right, let's move on. We've got a game on Tuesday, and Paul says it's just like Town to turn Cardiff around on Tuesday, though. Steve, it's a massive game. You've just mentioned it. Cardiff, if they win, you saying they get promoted. Town, they get a little bit closer to them playoff places.
Yeah, and Paul is right. It just will be Town to go and spoil the party and turn something around. We've seen it how many years now, where we'll go lose to Northampton, but we'll be top of the league, who haven't lost in God knows how many games. Cardiff, by the way, are they haven't been all conquering this season. They've had spells where they've been really hard to beat and unbeatable in some circumstances, but in other ways they have gone to sides and not performed at all. So there is a chance that we get the Cardiff coming where they're not on it. It is a Tuesday night. It's a long way from Wales. We know that. We've done that trip before. Let's hope that Cardiff are not feeling that well, and that they're not up for coming to windy and rainy Huddersfield on a spring Tuesday night. But I think that the other side is it. They'll be up for it. They'll want to get the job done, won't they? The longer it goes on, the more it's like, can we just get that win?
Yeah. Terry 930 says playoffs are gone now. Next season will be bloody tough league. And Mark agrees with Harry. A bit more power and pace could make the difference, but fine tune out and not a full reset, in my opinion. Wherever we finish this season, we have to take it as lessons learned. I still believe these players will come good, says Phil. So yeah, massive game on Tuesday. If Town plays similar to what they did yesterday, they're in with a chance, though, Steve.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In with a chance. Cardiff are not unbeatable, like I said. So if we turn up with the same energy, with the same passion, with the same bits of quality that we showed against Wickham, Cardiff are beatable. They are. They're not. They're not unstoppable. But we have to play like we did against Wickham, to get something.
And it's the same against Bolton, isn't it, as well, on Saturday, which is a 12:30 kickoff.
Yeah,
it's there. It is there.
Yeah.
Town beat Cardiff, get in touching distance of the playoffs and lose away at Wimbledon last game of the season, meaning they stay up. Yeah, look, it's
he's not wrong with that either.
It's the two games that are doable, but it's gonna take something, isn't it?
Yeah, especially the going away to Bolton. I think that is that really is the test there. The only thing that I hope for it, I don't know if Bolton play Tuesday night. I could be wrong. If somebody knows, let me know. But if they do play Tuesday night and they win, hopefully that means that their playoff place is confirmed, which then hopefully they would rest players against us. But I don't know whether that's true or not.
They play at home to Stevenage.
Okay, so that's a bit of a battle for them then, isn't it?
That's big for us as well.
So what we need Bolton to win. We need Bolton to win. We need there to be 3 red cards in that game. And whoever their top striker is, unfortunately, to get a knock. That's what we need. So if Stevenage could help us out there.
Stevenage to lose, Bolton to win, and lose all the players.
What I mean. That's what I mean. If Stevenage can help us out and be crap, that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay, I think it's time for predictions, everybody. So get them in because Steve has got his food coming. All right, he's got his weekly shop.
The fridge up.
He's got to stock that fridge up because he's been sat in it now. There's nothing around him. So I think it is time for predictions to start getting them in. And then we can, by the way, for Cardiff and for Bolton. Could the Bolton game, with it being an earlier kickoff, both teams play on Tuesday, could that have an effect on it? Could that help Town playing before everybody else?
Yeah, it could do. Yeah, it puts pressure on the likes of Plymouth, doesn't it? And Reading that are still, knocking about. And Stevenage. So yeah, absolutely, definitely could. I think the psychology of early kickoffs is always really interesting, depending on where you are in the league, because you've kind of got your result out the way and done, and then you can sort of relax, can't you?
If Stevenage beat Bolton on Tuesday, is that it done?
Yes.
That's just it.
Yeah, it's done. Yeah, because we need to win. What will we need to win then at last? If we need to win every game, and Stevenage, I think, would need to lose at least 2 out of the 3, and probably draw the other. So yeah, if Stevenage beat Bolton, it's a la vista.
Every game is winnable, though, Steve, in this league, and these players, we know they can do it. Well, we've already got some predictions coming in, so thank you very much for them. Let's start going through them. Paul says, Town at 2-1 to beat Cardiff, and then 2 apiece away at Bolton. Harry is saying 2 apiece against Cardiff, and 2-1 loss against Bolton. Harry, come on, man. Where's the positivity? I was hoping a little bit more from you. Phil says, I'm sticking with Town 2-1. Let's hope the injuries are not too bad. I'm guessing that is against Cardiff, Phil, because you've also gone 1-2 to Town at Bolton. So he's gone for a 2-1 victory. Yes, I'm loving the positivity here. Terrier 9th. Terrier 9th. Come on, man.
3-0.
Terry 930, we're pulling through for you. Ian, you too as well. He says Town 0, Cardiff 3, Bolton 2, Town 0. And Ian says Cardiff will batter us with a lesson how to score and win games. Harry says apologies, still having nightmares from the home games against Bolton.
Is he in Cal? Is he in Cal in this guy?
Yeah, it could be. Okay, any more predictions? Get them in very quickly because I'm going to go. There we go. Ian's gone 3-0 Cardiff win. I'm assuming he's going to go for a 3-0 Bolton win as well. Terry 930 says this season has drained me. But come on, Terry 930. I just want a bit of. Let's have some positivity before the end of the season. Let's just have some. Come on. Nana Paul says Town 3-1 against Cardiff. We're not playing Luton, by the way, Nana Paul. Bolton away. But we'll take the 1-0 win, late winner. I think we all knew what you were talking about. Michael says Town 1, Cardiff 2, Bolton 2, Town 1. Come on now. Right.
Michael's normally positive as well.
Trying to be positive. So we're going to win both fixtures 2-1 Cardiff and 2-0 versus Bolton. Yes, Luke, thank you very much. You've done that one for me. Terry announced at Town 4, Wimbledon 0. There we go. Thank you. We'll have that one for the last game of the season.
Come back in 3 weeks' time, mate. Come back in 3
We've
weeks.
locked that one in, Terry 9:30. Phil says Terriers together always. Up the Town. Right, Steve, come on. Give me some more positivity at the end of this show. Your predictions, please.
feel like because Oliver's not here, I've got to channel sort of inner positivity, Anna. So
You do.
I think I'll go for a Town 1, Cardiff 0, but it'll be very tight on Tuesday. I can't last the positivity so long though, Kane, unfortunately. I've tried. I think, yeah, Town 1, Bolton 2 on Saturday, unfortunately. But we're going to beat Cardiff, so take the positives. As Neil Warnock would say, take the positives out of that. Get your past.
Well, I'll try. I'll tell you the positives I'm taking is that Paul and Harry are both keeping us up with up the town. And yeah, more great news here that sold out the last game of the season away at Wimbledon. And even we've already mentioned that Bolton playing Stevenage on Tuesday.
Can we all dress up like Wombles? Everybody's going to Wimbledon and dress up like Wombles. Do like what Hartlepool fans used to do.
Yeah, fancy dress last game of season. Right, well, Steve, you've ruined me positivity anyway. But you guys in the comments, you've been fantastic. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Your comments have been absolutely wonderful as always. Thank you so much for doing so. Steve, I hope you have a wonderful week. Nice to chat to you. We'll catch up next week, of course. So do tune in next Sunday at 8 p.m. as per usual. And until next time, everybody, have a fantastic week. And let's hope for 2 positive Town results in the upcoming week. Until then, well, we shall see thee.